Their self-will, they dig down a wall.
That's going back to that situation with their sister Dinah. Go ahead.
May I say this all the time? Right where it says, "Be not thou united." They live on the same island, but they don't get along together because the Dominicans, they call the Levites, they call the Haitians, they call them Cushon. Now the word Cushon means pig. So whenever they see them, they'll call them that because there's rivalry between the two. But they're brothers. They live on the same island, but they don't get along. That's why the Lord said, "Be thou not united."
We estranged people, man. Yep. Go ahead.
It says, and the reason why I know because we had this one Levite dude in our camp. He's not around anymore. You know, we had to give him the boot, you know, through the Spirit of the Lord. But we went into this bodega up there in Simeonville, up there like around 200th Street, you know, where that bridge connects the Manhattan to the Bronx. And when we went up in the store, the Dominican dude said, "You Haitian?" He said, "Yeah." So he said something to him in that patois, in that French. And then the dude that was with us, he went back, you know, he said something back to him in the patois. And I was like, "Yeah, that's right," you know, because I didn't know what was going on. But he answered him, you know, in the same language. And then he came back to me and said, "You know what he said?" He said, "I'm a pig," in French. He said, and he explained to me that there's that rivalry going between the two, Simeon and Levi. Verse 7, "Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel."
Yeah, because back in the ancient world, Levi didn't have their own inheritance, meaning their own land. So they were scattered and they were living in the suburbs. And they were living good. So they were mingled among all the tribes. Some were living around among Judah. Some were living around Benjamin. Some were living around Ephraim. So when they had that split, it was Jeroboam that you had Levites that was with them other tribes that went with Jeroboam, but Jeroboam said, "No, you go back with Judah, the kingdom of Judah." And then what happened was Jeroboam had said, "Okay, any of y'all can be priests." So they had Gad being priests. They had Ephraim being priests. That's why of all the tribes of Israel, they all have their spiritual priesthood. Because the Levites had left, so they call themselves trying to do the job as a Levite. They wasn't set up to be the Levites. All right? Is there more to that? Or you got something? That was it on that. All right. Now, being that they did that, the Most High scattered them. That's why you got Simeon all over the damn place, man. You got Levi all over the place. I happen to be of the tribe of Levi, and my family is basically Judah. I'm the only Levite in my family, and that's how Levite was scattered. You got Levites out there that you swear are Judah because they grow up in Jake families or even Ephraimite families, and they'll speak that Puerto Rican perfectly, but they're really Levite. So that's a fulfillment of prophecy right there. Now let's go from there to Hosea 4:1. Because they were at one time they were priests unto the Most High on the right hand side, but now they're no longer priests. They're priests of the spiritual demon Satan right now, because they're still doing those spiritual things, but they're doing it based upon the power of the left hand side. All right. Hosea 4:1.
Hosea chapter 4 verse 1. "Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel. For the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of the Most High in the land, by swearing and lying and killing."
Yeah, because Levi, his job as a priesthood was to bring justice. If you had a matter, you would go to the priest. Go ahead.
By swearing and lying and killing.
And that's what Levi is doing right now. That's what Simeon's doing right now. Simeon, what they have is their God, the number one God that they believe in is Michael, Saint Michael, or Michael the Archangel, but it's a goddamn cracker with blonde hair and blue eyes wearing a fucking skirt that looked like he jumped off of a damn float at the gay parade. But you got Simeon blacker than coal, man, driving a damn taxi with supposedly Michael right there being a damn co-pilot. It's a goddamn shame the way our people is so messed up in the damn brain, man. Go ahead.
It says, by swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out.
And they all do that, man. The Simeonite women, man, they'll deal with their husband, then they'll go out and get a job, and they go out of state and dance in the damn strip club, man. Or work in the damn whorehouse. And they'll do 8 hours, and they'll come home, and they'll kiss their husband, and they'll cook food for him. You know, he'll come back from work, and she'll come back from work, but he don't know that she's working at a damn strip joint. Or she's working a night shift, where she leaves late at night when he's coming in, and she'll say, well, I left you some fandango. What's that? Mondongo. Mofongo, mondongo. So he's all happy, kisses his wife, then she goes to do the night shift, and the night shift is dancing around the goddamn pole. I know that for a fact because I know.
On a ravaged hillside in Port-au-Prince, the earthquake revealed a once hidden voodoo temple, where Christian icons and pagan symbols combine. The Hugon, a voodoo priest, unwraps a voodoo doll where he claims he deposits evil spirits. He says his healing work saved his life. I must have done a lot of good with my voodoo, he says, because the earthquake didn't kill me. But at the Assembly of Jesus Church in Port-au-Prince, Pastor Pierre David blames voodoo for the destruction. I do believe that the quake came because of voodoo, he says, because they did a lot of bad things. Now it's time that Christ takes over. Both Christian and voodoo leaders say that's exactly what's happening. Pastor David says thousands of voodooists, like former Hugan Patrick Godet, have converted to Christianity in his area. I used to practice voodoo. I used powers that are negative, he says, and then my friend Pastor David showed me the power that is in Christ. But the voodoo leadership says a different power is at work, aid. They claim that some Christian groups withheld emergency food and medicine from voodooists in an attempt to win converts.
The two way of life, the Christian way of life or the voodoo way of life. That is the choice.
We spoke with Max Beauvoir, the Ati, or supreme leader of the voodooists in Haiti.
Are Christian groups trying to buy souls in Haiti?
Yes, they have tried to buy souls. They believe that souls are sellable. But it's one of those commodities that cannot be sold.
Churches say they've been lending a hand to all Haitians, but many Christians believe that their path is the right one, that all voodoo followers should join their flock.
Despite a history of religious tension, many Haitians we've spoken to say that this earthquake was so devastating and affected people of all religions that now is the time to rebuild and unite. David Mackenzie, CNN, Port-au-Prince, Haiti.